What's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a good Thanksgiving. You guys are in Canada. You guys are in the US next month, but hope you guys also have a happy Thanksgiving. You'll find sometimes when you're trying to become the man that you want to be, you'll have moments where you'll be really drained, and it'll come in the form of thinking, is this worth it? Am I ever going to change? Like, what's the point, kind of thing? Like, it almost feels like all hope is lost in some points of self-improvement, and you don't get enjoyment out of improving, I guess, as a man. Like, you'll still feel like you get enjoyment out of watching TV and like quick dopamine hits from substances, but you'll find that the journey is less enjoyable. Well, that means you need to realign, and you might need to do some inner work to do that. So in this video, I'm gonna give you some tips that I use to realign when I get in the state of just feeling like I want to give up. But just so you know, guys, you don't actually want to give up. You're just overloaded, and it really comes down to just an overload of dopamine when you think about it, which is the feel-good chemical in your brain. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to get past that so you can become the guys that you want to be. So let's get into it. So number one, what I do is I would put all substances aside if it's really affecting you and you really are in the thought process of giving up. I would put all the substances aside, anything that gives you instant dopamine. You want to take a break from that for at least a few days to a week. If you're really advanced in handling your mindset, you can do it in a few days, but I find a week really gives you a solid time. So put the substances off for a week, give yourself a break, and you want to work on finding your authentic self. That's the key to really dialing in, because you might be doing things that aren't naturally what you're built by God to do. We all have our natural talents, and you'll find once you pursue your natural talents, even if it's something you're not initially really excited to get into, you'll find the excitement because you'll get good at it, and then you'll start to enjoy it, even if it's something that you don't initially enjoy. And the competence aside, you'll find things that you didn't expect to be part of that journey and being better in that skill or whatever you're doing. You'll find aspects that you didn't think you'd be getting into. You're like, wow, this includes this and this. So you'll discover a lot more things. Say you want to paint, you'll discover more things about what it takes to paint, different techniques, different ways that you can paint. Like, you can oil paint, finger paint. Like, finger paint is not just for kindergarten, it's for adulthood too. It's just an easy way that they get you to paint in kindergarten, not messing around with sticks. But anyway, yeah, you'll discover a lot more things if you jump in and give that thing a chance. I would sit in solitude in a room by yourself with no music, no distractions, nothing but silence and your own thoughts for half an hour to an hour, and really think, really let your mind just wander. Let your mind wander and see where it goes. And you'll be surprised if you just sit there in silence, no judgment, no trying to force your mind to go anywhere, just sitting in complete and utter silence. And that's where men or anybody can can find themselves, can find their authentic self. Because you have nothing to distract your brain and have any influence on you. It's all just you and your mind. So that's the best way to do it. Sit in the dark, no music, nothing playing. Tell everyone to shut the fuck up, and maybe not that, but if they're loud, then if they're being loud, then maybe do that. But I'd sit in complete and utter silence and let anything that comes to your mind come up. If you have any interests that come up, then that's an opportune time to pursue that interest, because that is most likely something that you're going to enjoy doing if that naturally comes up in silence. That's the secret to, that's the cornerstone of finding your authentic self. Solitude, thinking in your mind in solitude with no distractions, just a quiet space. And then right after sitting in solitude, this is what I'd do. I'd sit and think about what things in the past, when you were younger, say like 5 to 10, what things in the past what were the things in the past that got you super excited about just life or just existing, or what intrigued you in the younger years? Think of that stuff and try to gear that towards something that you could possibly do as a career. So say you like to build things with your hands, like play Lego, build stuff. The only thing I can think of is Lego. Say you like to build Lego. Most likely you're gonna find that maybe woodworking or building things with your hand, auto mechanic, that may be something that you could get into. Anything that requires using your hands and building something and being proud of a creation that you sat and put hours into. So that's an example of how you can think back to your childhood to play on like things that you can get interested in. And this is all part of realigning and getting to a point where you can work on something that you know in confidence is worth it. So you'll keep going with it. You'll get the dopamine from working on that specific thing, that specific idea. So say you want to build you like building Legos, working with your hands, you get into, like, say you're an apprentice with automotive, you're doing something that's productive, and that can give you confidence because it kind of all lines up in a way. And the worst thing that can possibly happen if you go an apprentice and work on something, you find out it's not for you, at least you get some experience in that thing. So say you're driving your car and breaks down, you can fix it yourself and save yourself hundreds of dollars. So there's no losing. And lastly, I'll leave you guys with the biggest challenge when it comes to realigning. And this isn't just realigning, and this doesn't just include like the realigning phase. This includes the end of it, as well as something you can do after you're realigned. And it's the most important thing that you can do when you're self-improving, because if you can't do this, then it's impossible to truly get to where you want to be. The main thing you need to do at the end of the realigning phase and beyond is learning how to enjoy the work that you're in. Getting dopamine like 90% of the time from the work that you do, and 10% of the time from watching TV, and say you want to have a smoke or a drink. You want to get 10%, about 10%, maybe 15, 20 at the max, but the rest you want to get from doing your hard work, because let's face it, if you want to get somewhere, if you want to get meaningful progress in a skill that you're working on, you'll need to put a lot of hours into it. So you're gonna need to know how to get most of your dopamine from that task, or you're going to be burnt out again. You're going to have to do the whole realignment a lot more frequently. I recommend doing this once a month just to make sure you can get back on track. Like, you may be off track and you don't even realize, so it's good just to do this once a month, at least to say on a Sunday, or so you're ready for the week, or maybe even a Saturday to give you that extra day in between. But once you get to the end, you have to find ways, and I can't teach you exactly how. I can give you some steps in a later video, but you'll kind of have to find out yourself what works for you and what doesn't. But in any way that you can, you need to find ways to enjoy your work and to make it exciting. I'll give you a few tips to wrap up the video. One thing, change your environment when you're working. You can get stagnant in, say you're working in your office all the time. It gets routine. Routine isn't fun. It can be fun. You can make it fun, but it comes with what I'm talking about, learning to enjoy your work. You can just go and enjoy it every time. But it helps in the earlier stages and even beyond. Like a lot of people that have been doing self-improvement for 10 years, it still helps. So changing your environment. Go from the office to working outside. You can work outside on your laptop, you can go to a cafe. Perfect way to spice it up, make it exciting. Helps with making the work fun every time. Also, you can upgrade certain things that you use for work. Huge ROI, because say you're working on a shitty laptop. Get yourself a good Apple, a Mac if you like Mac, or get yourself a good Windows if you like that. Get yourself a computer that you're using every day for work that you enjoy using, because you're excited to use that device because it actually works. And then lastly, I'd say work with your brothers. If you have the opportunity to work with your brothers and like if you guys are working on a similar thing, then you can pool your resources and work on a project together. You guys can give each other insight, you guys can keep each other accountable, and your best work is done in a clan, because our ancestors, that's how they survived, that's how they thrived, and that's how we got to where we are today. So if you guys like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, comment if you have any questions. Until next time, get on those adventures, let me know how they go, make memories, and keep striving for your best self. See you guys in the next one.